All right. Michelle McClymont. No, I want to make sure I get your name right. Is that correct?
I was just gonna say you did that perfect.
Awesome. Let me be
You
sure.
really did. You really
I
did.
just
You
asked
did.
you before. Anyways.
No, that was perfect.
Okay, great. Michelle McClymont, welcome to Sunday Conversations with Dionne Nicholls. That's me. I am so happy to have you here.
Thank you
I
so much.
always say nothing happens by accident. I mean, our spirits have been colliding for a little while now.
Yes, indeed. That's true.
And I always like to ask, do you remember how we met?
It's funny. I know. I don't remember the very first time we met, which is weird. I remember us being at places and keep seeing each other and being introduced, but I don't remember the very first moment I met you.
So you were hosting an event on a
Okay.
lovely patio in the heart of Brooklyn,
Okay.
and it was really supporting and educating entrepreneurs. I
Mhm.
believe around PR at the time.
Mhm.
So
Was that
we
at
were
Brooklyn Common?
mutual. Sorry,
Was it at Brooklyn Common or
I'm
you
trying
don't
to remember
remember?
the name of the restaurant. But David
Oh,
Germain said, let's
yeah.
go out and support this event. And that's when
Mhm.
I first saw you really in your element. If that does that ring a
Okay.
bell? I think it was in
Yes, I
East
think it
Flatbush
was.
area.
Yes, I think it was at Vivid on Avenue D.
Yes,
And yes, mhm, mhm,
that's it. So that's
mhm,
when I
mhm.
first got to experience you and what you were doing out in the community, which
Nice.
was very powerful.
Oh, thank you, thank you.
And then I think we realized, oh, we attend the same church.
Right? Yes.
Then we both sit on the committee for the Young Gifted and Black Entrepreneurial Awards.
Yes.
So eventually, I mean, we just kept saying we need to do
Do
something
something.
together,
Yes.
right?
Yes, absolutely.
And we said, okay, who knew it would be Clubhouse to bring together?
Right?
But before we get into that,
Mhm.
I would really like just our audience to get to know a little bit more about who you are. I've
Okay.
given them a little bit of a taste, right?
Mhm.
You're a woman of God. You
Mhm.
are a serial entrepreneur. That's
Mhm.
very much about supporting entrepreneurship.
Yeah.
But if you had to describe Michelle McClymont in one sentence, like what would your tagline be?
Oh,
Nice as just
jeez.
do it. You know, McDonald's, I'm loving it. What would be your tagline?
um, you know what? I love risk takers.
Mm.
I guess that's what it boils down to. Um, I have a passion for entrepreneurship. I love entrepreneurs, and I'm that person that celebrate when someone says I quit my job. I'm like, yes.
Well, if I can jump in here 1 second, 'cause I want to really
Mhm.
make sure they understand the depth of your passion for this,
Okay.
right? You describe it as um, it's important to you to keep small business vibrant
Hmm.
and make them aware of their relevance
Right.
in today's economy and beyond.
Hmm.
So, what or who would you say had the most influence on you? Because I always say there's usually a catalyst experience or a person that fuels that mission.
I can't say that it's one key person. What I can tell you is, so I worked with Small Business Services, Department of Small Business Services, as executive director for the Small Business Solution Center, where we provide free services throughout New York City for entrepreneurs. And I think that's where my love started,
Mm,
is because I came across so many people who needed assistance, who were just out doing their thing, owning restaurants, owning salons, just doing their passion and just needed assistance. And I was in a position to offer services and help and do the best way I can and show them about marketing and help them to pay attention to their business and how they are impacting the overall economy of the city.
Right.
And that's when it really hit me, like, you know, small businesses are really the backbone of any particular city,
Yes.
right? And we have to, as a city, keep them going, keep them vibrant, support them. And if there's anything that we can do by providing resources or just being a customer and supporting their business, that's what's important to me. So those are the things that hit me to say, you know what? Small businesses are so key. We love the big boys and the big
Right.
businesses, and
Mhm.
we love those, right? But the mom and pop shops, they are so important. They are very, very important for us and for our families and for young people to see that it can be done.
Yes. And we're seeing just how, with this pandemic,
Hmm.
with how many small businesses have actually closed their doors,
Yes.
you realize just how integral
Yes.
they are to our communities.
Yes. Yeah.
But for you, it didn't stop there. You
Right.
continued your journey of
Hmm.
supporting entrepreneurship. Tell us a bit about that.
So I decided that I wanted to work with an entire neighborhood. So I became executive director for a business improvement district in Flatbush. And that allowed me, it's almost like, okay, forget the onesie twosies. Let me just get everybody a whole bunch and bring all these services.
That's how it
And
starts, right?
yeah, yeah. And this, let's fix these storefronts, and let's show them how, just fixing your storefront or making it inviting will
Yes.
help to grow your business. And so I'm a true component of black owned businesses, correct? However, I look at what's important is, if we have a whole entire neighborhood and we have businesses next door to each other, let's make those businesses vibrant and beautiful and attractive. So how many times someone drives down the street, so many times you drive down the street and say, oh, what's that store? I'm on my way someplace else, but what's that store? I'm going to come back over here.
Right.
And that's what I wanted to really create, fixing signage, helping them to advertise their food, advertise what they have, just bringing services that normally wouldn't hit our neighborhoods. And I've seen it go to other neighborhoods,
Yes.
just bringing it and saying, hey, we can do that too. Getting I was the first one to get the permit to close off 2 blocks on Flatbush Avenue, which people told me was impossible. And I
Hmm.
closed it off for an event called Weekend Walks, and
Wow.
had musicians, and just, we had roast corn and yoga
Hey.
in the streets, all of that on those 2 blocks, just to let people understand that anything that can go on in another neighborhood, we can do it as well.
Wow. And I
Hmm.
never knew how far reaching your expertise and I guess dreams for the East Flat or the Flatbush area really
Hmm.
went.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
didn't know you had such a hand in that.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, and for
Yes.
those who don't know, it's a predominantly Caribbean area.
Yes.
Of course, like anywhere else, it's starting to shift.
Mhm.
So I'm so proud to know, as a fellow woman of Caribbean descent,
Yes.
myself, that a female Caribbean woman was so instrumental in moving community and business forward in that area.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. It was
Yeah.
it was just a passion, as far as even if, so I don't know if you, whenever you go to, there's a big Target out there, and if you look
Uh-huh.
outside the Target, you'll see a mural across the street. And I created that mural, not physically, but
You're a Pablo Picasso too, but anyway.
exactly. Not physically, but what used to happen on that wall, it was the side of a business. And what happened was, they would bring like party promotions and just plaster it
Yeah.
all over the wall. And it was almost like I would look and see people standing there and try to find out where the next party is. And I'm like, this is someone's businesses,
Yeah.
where it's worse than graffiti, right? Because it's just, making the neighborhood look horrible.
Mhm.
So I actually could not utilize money from the bid in order to privately get that fix. So what I did was, I was in a competition and I was able to win as a bid director. I won $1,100, So
Mhm.
I took that 1100 and I said, okay, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to find a graffiti artist who wants a blank wall and just to put their art.
And
And
there
I'm
is
going to
no
give them,
shortage in New York City, that's for sure.
right. I'm going to give them $1,100. I'm
Wow.
going to give them all this money.
Yeah.
And this is my money, right? So I'll give
Uh-huh.
it to them for them to do this art. And I found a young lady, her name is Danielle Maestro, and she came and we talked about, I said, this is what I want to see. I want to see different nationalities on the wall of kids. And when you go there, take a look at it, it's still there. She put that up in like
I
three
will.
days
I
Yeah.
will.
Yeah.
Definitely.
and
Wow.
and it's funny about art, people don't graffiti it, they don't,
Yeah.
they just appreciate it, and
Mhm.
it's still there. It's been what, for about 4 years now.
Wow.
Yeah.
I think I may have seen it, but now I'm gonna pay close attention, you
Absolutely, you
know?
should. Yes.
Well, thank you for beautifying our neighborhoods.
You're
Thank you for
welcome.
uplifting our communities. Um, and it didn't stop there. I know that you also, you have been running some business plan and accountability programs yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of by way of how we ended up coming together. You wanted to take
Yes.
it a step further.
Yes. Yes.
Lo and behold, Clubhouse is the platform that helps make that happen.
Mm-hmm.
So I still remember the day you came to me and said, Dionne, I have an idea. So it started around accountability.
Right.
And kind of take us through that real quick. It morphed, as we know,
Mm-hmm.
but that's where we started.
Right. So, at one point in my life, I was working on a project. I did a photo project book, and which is why my Instagram is Michelle 26 Voices, because the project book is called 26 Voices.
Okay.
So, so I did a project book, and but through that book, it was just an idea in my head. I had a number of being a lover of entrepreneurship, always coming up with different ideas. It was just an idea in my head. I spoke to a woman who was a life coach, and we just kind of talked about just different things I was working on. And for some reason, the book stuck in her head, the project stuck in her head. So
Okay.
she's like, okay, let's get that done. And I'm like, okay, and I had nothing done. She's like, let's get that done. What does that entail? And for 3 months, I spoke to her every week,
Mm-hmm.
and she just held me accountable on each step.
Right.
And I realized, like, wait, I'm really doing this thing that's been in my head. And lo and behold, at the end of it, had a photo book, has have a photo book, done, completed the project. A lot went into it. And I always think back at that experience. It
Mm-hmm.
wasn't, she knew nothing about how to get it done. She really didn't. She just held me accountable.
Well, I always say this as a life coach myself. We're not in the how business. We're in
Right.
the possibility business.
There you go. There you go. There you go. And so I always think about that, about anything, even when I teach business plan classes. That's what really has me teaching in classes, because I don't have to know about everyone's industry.
Right.
But what happens is, once it's almost like you give someone homework and they come back with the homework being done. It doesn't matter if the answers are correct or not, but you're doing something towards it. And
Yes.
that's just holding people accountable. So when I talk to you and I said, Dionne, let's do, I don't know what we're gonna do, but let's do something around accountability.
Yeah.
It's almost like when you're celebrating, I think if you're celebrating each step, that that helps you to move to the next step.
Yeah, I agree. But
Hmm.
we somehow we just didn't feel like that was there. We were still stuck on, I think, the accountability piece. Like, we're still not there yet, though,
Right.
right?
Right.
And for
Right.
those who don't know, I know we're talking about Clubhouse like everybody knows what it is. I should just make sure everybody is clear. So Clubhouse is an app. It's
Hmm.
a new type of social network based app. It's just voice, where people basically from around the world come together and talk and learn from each other in real time, right? And it's
Yeah.
only available on iPhone right now. So sorry, Android people, get on Team iPhone. Okay. But it's been a really awesome space to
Yes.
really learn and share and grow. So yeah, so we're still fleshing this out. It didn't just we didn't just pull this out of the air
Right.
when we created this room. So the room's called celebrating your wins hashtag winning, right?
Mhm.
So basically we encourage people to come and bring their win for the week, right? But that took a moment for us to really figure out
Yes.
because we still felt like accountability. There was something we said we don't know if that's really the thing.
Right. Right.
I'm trying to remember how
And
we got to.
I think we felt like it wasn't enough,
Yeah,
right? So it wasn't enough to of a draw. And it's funny that, and I think we'll talk a little bit more about this, but it's funny because you still have that kind of like, I still kind of have that. Is it enough of a draw? And it's just because people don't celebrate their wins.
yeah.
So it's, you know, so it's like, what's the big deal?
Well, I was going to say to you, so that's my next question to you. So
Mhm.
we got there eventually, right?
Right, right,
And once we did, we knew we had something. We knew.
right.
And but I do want to hear from you. You know,
Mhm.
why do you think it's important to encourage people to track their incremental wins?
I think I think we're so hard on ourselves as individuals. And it's hard for us to say, "Hey, I did a great job," because you may feel as if, I don't know, like are you feeling like it's maybe some people feel they're not deserving of it. Maybe some people feel it's, you know, they're showing off or whatever. But who cares, right? So it's about, you have to celebrate that. And as I'm telling you this, Dion, I'm talking to myself as well, right?
Yeah.
Right. Because we always have that bigger goal that we want to achieve and don't think of those little steps as being something that should be celebrated.
Yeah.
And we don't think of it as the next step is, oh, okay, until we've gotten to that end result, that's when we say, okay, this is great. I'm winning.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll say that, you know?
We're focusing on the destination, but forgetting about there's so many exciting things along the journey, right?
Right.
We're
Right.
so focused on the end goal. I'm with you. I heard basically, by celebrating our wins, that's actually a form of self-compassion, if you will, because
Mhm.
we tend to so focus on what we didn't do
Yes.
and just to take some time to actually pat yourself on the back
Mhm.
and give yourself a little bit of acknowledgement.
Mhm.
It goes a long way for your motivation, especially as an entrepreneur, where a lot of
Yes.
times you tend to be self motivated. You have to be self motivated. So by celebrating that win, you're actually increasing your motivation rather than beating yourself and making that a motivation killer. And
Mhm.
then we know what that can literally start perpetuating into, whether that's spiraling into the procrastination and all of those things. So
Right.
there's a lot of great reasons why we need to celebrate our wins. I mean, I think it's just human nature. It's so natural for us to
Mhm.
go to the beating ourselves up for what we didn't get done.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
so uh, yeah, I think that's why it's important for me too. We're in this society where it's all about, you said, the next, the next, the next.
Right.
So just to pull back.
Yeah. And I think especially with entrepreneurs, a lot of times we start off doing something and it could be for a number of years and we're just not there yet. And I can't even say we're not there yet. We are there, right? But
Mhm.
we're not at that ultimate high goal where we think we should be. And we're missing the steps. We're missing the celebration. So you could say, someone, you would hear an entrepreneur say, "Yeah, I've been doing this for the last 10 years." That's big,
Yeah,
right?
you're still in
That's big.
business.
You're
Most
still in
people
business,
the
right?
first three, right, or the first
For,
year.
yeah, you're still in business. You're still doing it. You're still making changes. You're still hanging on. You're still there. You're still in the game. So that should be celebrated. And you'll find a lot of people like, ah, yeah, yeah. No, it's huge. It's
It is.
huge. Yeah,
And I know you always remind a lot of our guests who join us in the room that if those initial steps don't get done, you cannot get to the bigger goal.
that's right.
Those steps are actually necessary and required for you to go on to the
Right.
next one.
Right.
So again, another great reason to celebrate that.
That's right. That's
Yeah.
right. That's right. And you'll have people celebrate you sometimes. And you ever watch when someone's maybe being introduced or being celebrated or
Mhm.
being rewarded and they're like, "Is that me?" Yeah.
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 There's a great meme. I actually posted it on
Mhm.
my social media. Snoop Dogg. Have
Mhm.
you saw that one yet?
I haven't seen that.
Where he's at the podium
Uh-huh.
and he basically says, "I'd like to thank me.
Oh, yes,
I'd like
yes,
to
I've
thank
seen
me
that. Yes.
for my hard work and dedication." I mean, there's something to be said,
Yes, yes,
right? If you
yes.
can do that with a humility,
That's right.
right? At the same time, do a light brag.
Right,
Just
that's
earn
right.
it,
Why
right?
not? Why not?
And you know what? Anybody who knows me knows I'm all about the data. Okay, so there's science behind this stuff.
Mhm.
So for anyone who doesn't know, anytime that you celebrate a win, there is a reward center in your brain, okay, that actually releases that feel good hormone, that neurotransmitter or neurochemical,
Mhm.
dopamine. So it's that same feel good, when you go work out, it's that same feeling, right? So the more you celebrate the wins, you start to get hooked on that feeling.
Mhm.
Well, guess what? That's pulling you
Right.
to actually want to accomplish more. So, again, this is not woo woo. It actually creates a momentum
Mhm. Mhm.
the more you celebrate the wins along the way.
Mhm. Mhm.
That actually pulls you versus having to push through what you're trying to do.
Absolutely,
Right?
absolutely. Yeah. And I just wanted to add, so I do an accountability group on Tuesdays at 7:30 on Zoom.
Hmm.
And it's really just about, what's your project, what are you working on? And then every week everyone talks about what was that next step, did they complete it? And if you see the energy of people who've had ideas in their head for the last 2 years and within 1 week has made that phone call to, I have a woman on there who wanted to ultimately do something with a advertisement, but she needs to do a photo shoot first
Hmm.
for the last 3 years.
Yeah.
And all these excuses why she didn't, why she didn't, why she didn't. And within 1 week, called the photographer, made an appointment, um, did everything that she needed to do to set it up, which she's put off for the last 3 years.
Yeah.
So it's just, and we celebrated it. And
Yes.
she was like, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe." And it was just that when all she did was make a phone call,
Yeah.
you
But she
know?
took action.
Yes.
Ah.
Yeah, but she's in action.
Yeah, she's in
She's going.
action.
Yeah. She's
Oh,
in
I mean,
action.
that's the best part of what I do, I have to honestly say. And I
Mm,
think that's another reason why we connect so well, on
right, right.
entrepreneurship level and just that idea of getting people to live out their dreams,
Yes. Yes.
right?
Yes.
Fully,
It's
just by
exciting.
standing for what they said they're committed to in their lives.
That's it.
Oh,
That's it.
can't
That's
get
it.
better than that?
Yeah. And it's okay if you don't, right? It's okay
Yeah,
if you say, "Hey, I didn't get to it. I didn't do it. I didn't,
right.
but it's just taking that step.
Yeah.
And we all can do it. We all can do it.
We all can do it. Now, is anything off limits in our room?
No.
Right? Nothing's too big or too small,
Nope.
ladies and gentlemen.
Nope. Not a thing. Not it could be cleaning the closet, right? Like you have a room, and I'm speaking of myself, right? You have a room you have a room that you're
In
supposed
there.
to fix up about, and make it that office, and you haven't done it yet. And um just let's say you started, you bought the paint for the room, or you packed up what was in the room, you packed up a box. Those are accomplishments because that's moving you to the next level. And even though you may not tie it to work or tie it to anything like that, it necessarily is, because
Yes.
we all know when we clear that fog and clear all of that stuff going on, how
Mhm.
creativity starts to
Yeah.
flow, right?
Physically decluttering actually mentally declutters,
Yes,
right?
yes,
Which creates space, as you said, for the creativity.
yes.
Um, it also just, there's a calming, soothing nature that comes over you, right? Because that's
Mm.
kind of when things are in disarray, that it's kind of an energy leak.
Yeah.
It's kind of dulling your experience of whether it's of your home, your business. So when you have organized your space,
Right.
right? We all know Mary Kondo,
Mhm.
just watch a few of her episodes and you'll see, creating the space for who you want to become,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
How cool is
Sorry.
that?
Sorry about that. Yes.
That's okay. But yeah, it could be something as simple as making your bed in the morning, that you
Absolutely.
already accomplished something for that day. So,
Absolutely.
yeah.
That's important. It's so funny you said making your bed. That's it. That's been like a theme that's been coming up for
Yeah.
the last week. I've been talking to young people about how important it is to get out of your bed and just make up your bed and get that start for the day. It's funny. I've been
It
having those
counts.
conversations.
Yeah,
Yes.
I remember there's a whole, again, I love, these inspirational messages and what have you, but there was I think a lieutenant or a colonel or a general on YouTube who gave
Mhm.
a really big speech at a college. And the central part of the message was making your bed. Just
Mm,
a comp that first thing in the morning can set the tone for the rest of your day.
absolutely does. It
Yeah.
does.
So don't dismiss the small wins.
It
Mm,
does.
yeah,
Those are the things. Yes.
right. Um, I mean, I want to share some of, I guess, our experiences in that room, but I'll
Mm.
get to that. I would love to hear from you. How do you celebrate your wins
Um, you know what?
outside of Clubhouse?
I, I'm a work in progress.
Uh-huh.
So I think I find myself just going and going and going and going. And honestly, I do. I'm just up in the morning working and sometimes just late at night and just going and going. And for me, it's the small things right now, how I celebrate.
Hmm.
I think I shared with you that I went to a friend's party last weekend and I'm like, okay, that's enough. That's enough celebrating, right? I
Yes,
had
you took
it.
some time out.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
I took some time out without feeling guilty because a
yeah.
lot of times we take time out with feeling guilty. But while I'm home, I will I don't get to watch, I do watch a lot of reality TV. I do. So I
So
don't get to, yeah, I don't get to watch it when it's coming on. So just sometimes I'm like, okay, today I have I'm going to take an hour out to catch up on like two shows or something
nice.
like that. And that's almost for me, that's my little treat. That's my
Oh
celebration.
yeah. I just finished doing a little binge watch with my son. We're all about Hell's Kitchen. We love
Yeah.
TV
Oh,
shows,
wow.
so
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
our thing. You
Yeah.
know, so I
Yeah.
get
And
it. I don't watch a lot of television, but
right.
that's my little treat.
Yeah,
Time
that
with
is. That's me. That's me. And so and I think now that the weather's getting nicer, just probably taking more walks and those kind of things is going to help me to celebrate a little bit more.
yeah.
But that's just my celebration. And then I think I also shared with you I do keep a to-do list, which I call it accomplishment list
Mm,
instead of to do.
I love that.
Yeah. And it allows me to, at the end of my day, I'm checking off. Everything's not checked off, I'm not gonna lie. So
Mhm.
the things that I do check off on the accomplishment list, that helps me to feel a lot better that I have accomplished something and not overlook. Those are my small wins. Oh, I said I was gonna call this person. I said I was gonna do this or send this email. I did it. So
Yeah.
I'm almost like, okay, Michelle, I'm proud of, be proud of yourself that you got
Right.
that done today, as opposed to putting it off till tomorrow. So yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. And that same dopamine feeling, you
Mhm.
actually get that. I don't know if I physically like to scratch off
Mhm.
my accomplishment list.
Yes.
And they're saying that actually is more potent than just
Mhm.
doing it digitally. So
Right.
again, going back to that biochemistry, that
Yes.
same dopamine is released every time you scratch off on your to-do list.
Yes. Yes.
So
Yes.
yeah, so we're similar in that sense.
Oh
I
yeah.
had a boss back in my fashion when I still worked in fashion, and
Mhm.
he got me onto that. This just keeping this little list.
Mhm.
His name was Jim Fletcher. He was quite a mentor for me when I was working
Mhm.
in fashion, and that's where I got inspired by actually having handwritten, lists.
Yeah, I love the handwritten. That's a one of the questions that I always ask people. Do you take, how do you track things? Do you
Mhm.
track it digitally, or do you write it down? And I know I find that a lot of people do the handwritten, and I feel like the handwritten just works a lot better because it's in your face. I
Yes.
think digital, I can kind of not look at it or anything, but handwritten, I open that book, it's in my face.
Yeah.
Michelle, you didn't do this. You got to get this done. I got to physically see those check marks or
Right.
scratch off.
Right.
I
There's
have to
something
see
about
it.
it, right? When you
Yes,
check it or scratch it. Yeah.
that's right.
I
That's right.
feel you. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
The other thing that's been useful for me is the 5 minute journal. So I use this. It's a gratitude journal, but it also
Mhm.
incorporates affirmation, setting your intentions. But
Mhm.
what I love is at the end of the day. So I use it daily,
Right.
and at the end of the day, you're basically looking at what made today great. So I also use that as an opportunity to scan my day for what's all the good stuff. What are all the
Nice.
wins that took place
Nice.
daily? So think
Yeah.
about that. You start off with gratitude in the morning to
Mhm.
kick things off, and then you end your day by basically looking at and celebrating all the good that
Oh,
took.
that's awesome. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
So I'm a big proponent of that, and anyone who you can always check my write up for the show, and I always like to keep the link there for anybody who's
Mhm.
interested. But the 5 minute journal changed my life for sure.
That's awesome.
Yeah, yeah. So I mean, we live in a culture. We talked about it. That really puts a lot of emphasis on externally driven accolades and validation. Social media is a perfect example of this, where we're posting and a lot of times doing things for the likes, right?
Right.
How do you see um, a possibility of shifting that culture?
Um, I don't know, Dion. I don't know. I think that's a hard question.
Well, guess what, Michelle?
Yeah.
We're doing it. Are we doing it? Aren't
Yeah.
we? We
Yeah.
shifting it closer
I
right
think
now. What we're doing with Clubhouse?
yeah, I think that people are so concerned with others, with others' thoughts instead of thinking about themselves. But I feel like what we're doing is helping shift it and understand yourself. This so funny. I know so many people who are almost shy to talk about their accomplishments and things that they've done. And I think as we get older, we've done so much. Right, so it's like, yeah. I
Mhm.
get like that sometimes, right? I get like that. I'm like, oh yeah, okay, right? I'm on to something else. Okay, yeah, I did that. Yeah, that's fine. I'm on to something else now. But I think I don't know if we ever get away from people wanting those accolades, those likes, and I think it's a feel good thing. I'm not gonna lie. I think for us, we post something, even if you post, "Hey, this is my new dress," and you get likes, you're like, "Oh, people like my dress,"
Mhm,
right?
mhm.
It's satisfying, but there's a boundary, there's a limit there. That's the dress, the fashion. Oh, I looked cute. I was going out, and that's there's a limit there. That's nice to get those, but when it's your hard work and when it's you need validation for the things that you're doing for your goals and your passion, it really has to come from within. It really has to That's the work that has to be done from within. Like,
Mhm,
I'm
mhm.
okay with doing this.
Yeah,
I'm okay
yeah.
with just this small step. And someone may look very well and say, "Yeah, you want to do X, but you've only done ABC so far." And almost try to downplay you. So it's kind of understanding people and dynamics and
Mhm.
what you're listening to, right? So
Oh, that's powerful too.
yeah,
Yeah.
you
What are
got
you taking in?
right. What are you
How are you
taking in?
pouring back into yourself? 'Cause I think when you are, as you said, taking care of yourself, pouring into yourself, building your self-esteem, building that
Mhm.
self-love, that self-trust,
Right,
you're less reliant, right, on having
right,
need. So say there is a naysayer, you're okay with that. You're willing not to take it personally.
right,
Like,
right. And it's extremely hard for people not to take it personally, but you have to understand everyone comes with their history and their experience, right? So whether you say I'm cute or ugly, that's based on your you
That's
know,
the interpretation.
that's on you. That's not me,
I
that's
have
on
the best
you.
quote. Other people's opinions are not my business.
Right. That's right.
Are none of
That's
my
right.
business. That's how it goes.
Right. No, but
Yeah, yeah.
exactly. I know what you're saying. Yeah. It's you, but it's hard for people to understand that. Everyone has their own opinion. You may not like what I do based on your life,
Yeah.
or you may like what I do based on your life.
Mhm.
Right?
There's a great book if anybody wants to check it out that really goes in depth about that, and that's The Four Agreements
That's my
by
favorite book in the whole
Miguel
world.
Ruiz. Yes,
That's my favorite book.
yes.
There's two
I'm telling you, this is why we're hanging. I can tell.
there's two so there's the book itself, and then there's another book, The Four Agreements, like the handbook.
Okay.
Yeah, I have both. I love it. And
Yes,
that's it. Don't
yes.
take it. Don't take anything personal.
Don't take anything personal.
Yes,
Yeah, do the best you can. Right?
absolutely. Yep.
Love it. Um, I mean, I did hear there was I think it was a child psychologist,
Mhm.
and he was talking about how we can, actually make some strides or impact with our, upcoming generation.
Mhm.
So as parents, even the language that we use when we're actually parenting our kids and celebrating them, it's actually just shifting or reframing the way we even speak to them.
Mhm.
So rather than saying, "Oh, all the clapping and mommy's so proud of you," you actually say, "You must be so proud of yourself."
Mm.
And they actually said, studies show as time went on that it really did work. Like
Mhm.
their self confidence, knowing that they don't have to rely on outside validation to feel,
Right.
validated,
Right.
that it actually works. So
Yeah.
something to think about as we're raising these young kids,
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah. Th-
swirling around this whole social media. Uh,
That's very important.
mm,
That's very, very important. Very
yeah.
important, because I think even us growing up, we tend to do things for outside praise, right?
Oh,
So
I'm a recovering perfectionist for that.
yeah, yeah.
Looking for my parents and,
Right, I had to get the 90
yeah,
for the
yes.
parents, and listen, when I got the 80, my mother's like, "Okay, where's the other 20?" Like, "Oh my gosh. Like, can I live a little bit?
Right. That
Can I get by with this 80, please?" Always. Listen,
Yeah.
Jamaican parents, you know how
Oh,
that go.
I heard.
Where's the other 20?
But
Yeah.
yes, I mean, it's all fun and games. Honestly, um, what we have experienced in our
Mhm.
clubhouse rooms has been phenomenal.
Yes, it
Right?
has. It
Every time
has.
it just blows our minds
It has.
what's been created in those rooms.
Yeah. Yeah.
What have been so, and so I did I give the name? So it's Clubhouse. Um, Celebrate your wins. Hashtag winning.
Mhm.
Right. We're on Thursdays at 8:30.
Yes.
Um, but how would you describe the experience so far? Your biggest takeaways? What can people expect when they're in that room?
So I this is what I watch, right? I watch the dynamics of people, and every week is kind of different, right?
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
I watch the fact that we talk about, okay, we're going to celebrate our wins, and we give a little story of how, the small steps, and celebrate your daily wins or your wins this week. And you have people who makes it, yeah, it's on. So for those people who are not familiar with Clubhouse, there's like a stage. So you will join, we'll pull, someone may raise their hand, and we could pull them on the stage basically to talk about their wins. So when someone, you will, after we do the introduction, you'll have someone say, yeah, almost like, yeah, pick me. I'm going to get on stage. And then
Mhm.
they start talking about themselves and talking about the win, and we get it. And then you will have people who are in the audience who just are there and will stay there for the duration, right? And
And
just
it's an hour
kind of,
away, folks. So this is
yes,
good for
it's
now.
an outright. And they will just listen and listen. And we can actually call them up to the stage. And Dionne, I don't know. we never talked about this, but I don't know your end. Or do you keep calling them? Because I keep calling them up to the
Yeah, yeah,
stage.
yeah.
I keep inviting them, and some people may turn it down or don't come. And you always find the last person to come up on stage is usually the person that's been in the audience the longest,
Hmm.
because I feel like when they start to share, when they share their story, it's like, oh, well, yeah, I did have a win. I did join the gym this week and started working out for the last week. I haven't been there for 3 years or whatever.
Right.
And because they had to understand, it's like they had to take in and understand, what do you mean by wins?
Yeah,
Right?
yeah. It seems
Right?
so foreign. It's actually
Yeah.
seems foreign to a lot of people.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like they had to hear other people's wins and saying, oh, almost measuring.
Yeah.
That's what they're doing. They're measuring,
Mhm.
right? So even if you say, hey, someone says I got a new client this week. Last week we had a lot of real estate agents in there.
Mhm.
And if
Mhm.
someone says I got a new client, or I got into this building. Remember the young lady was saying she got into a
Yes.
building that was very hard to get into. And you compare that with someone who says, um, I've
Remember
been
that
trying to,
gentleman who said, I took care of my self-care this week.
yes, right.
It's a
So,
win.
right. So think about that in comparison to someone getting a contract. So if you're sitting back trying to compare the two, someone may say, oh, that's small, this is big, this is big. But it's to the individual,
Yes.
right? Self-care is huge. Mastering a recipe is huge. Cleaning out your refrigerator is huge.
Huge.
If that's what's important to you,
That's it. That's it right there.
right? Yeah. So
That's it
that's what
right
I get
there.
out of it I think
Yeah.
that's what excites me every time we get on, because I know people are measuring, oh, well, my win is not big enough.
Until they realize it's
It is.
you want it to be.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, one thing I heard in there was just breakthrough.
Mm-hmm.
On top of that, like we've seen breakthroughs in our room
Yes.
where I remember, I'll never forget the gentleman who came in. He's like, I'm just, you know, he was an entrepreneur,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm just a humble guy from Brooklyn.
Yes.
And then you heard what he had accomplished.
Yeah.
He kept mentioning the challenges along the way, but I'm like, hello, wait a second. But
Mm-hmm.
if those things didn't happen, you couldn't have. And by the way, I mean, he had already had a celebrity client waiting in the
Yes.
wings
Yes.
for his product.
Yes.
He had how many patents
Yeah.
worldwide,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
couldn't see the win
Could
because it
not see
wasn't
it.
complete yet,
Yes.
because he had faced some setbacks or delays because of
Yeah.
COVID.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
until what I love in that room, with the support of the rest of the people in the room,
Mm-hmm.
right? So you have support in that room. So now by sharing, you have support systems. You have people outside of you who can reflect back to you, because we know
Right.
we're always our worst critic. So having other people like ourselves to reflect back, actually, there's not even just one win. There's a few in there.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
start to warm up and they start to be more vulnerable,
Yes.
and right, and then you just
Yes.
more synergy and connection, and so there's connection in that room,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
There's breakthroughs in that
Yeah.
room.
Yeah. And
Where,
what's funny is
yeah,
that you'll hear someone who even talks about their win after someone else talks. They're like, "Oh yeah, you know what? I did have I had another
oh,
win."
oh, and
Now
great,
that I think about it.
right. Oh, so I love those moments.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I did have another win.
Yeah. And then I just remember him coming back later on and, you know, volunteering this time, just,
Yeah.
something even more deeper and meaningful. And that was around being a father,
Oh yes.
And so just to see that evolution from when he
Yeah.
first came in, where he was just a humble guy,
Right.
to now proud dad,
Yes.
acknowledging his wife and what they were able to,
Yes.
nurture and raise
Mhm.
a young king,
Mhm. Mhm.
It was awesome. It's awesome. It's awesome.
It really is awesome. The other thing about um you see people talk about being parents. So I think someone kicked that off, even on that same night. Someone kicked
Mhm.
off the fact of, I think it was a young lady that talked
Yeah.
about being a mom, right?
Mhm.
And we forget, right? Because we even talked about it after. Was like, wait, I think that's a little something we should talk about,
Yeah.
because as parents, almost your children's wins are like your wins, right?
Right.
So even you witness your child having manners in a particular situation, or taking care of a situation that you were like, oh, they're kind of mature for doing something like
Hmm.
that. That's you as a parent. That's a reflection. That's a win.
Yes.
That's a win.
Yes, it is.
And you don't recognize it. I'm a parent. I didn't recognize it. Someone said it to me a couple of weeks ago when I was saying how my son has now moved away. My daughter's away at school, and happened to be the same day they sent me photos of my daughter made a huge breakfast for all her friends,
Wow.
and my son did this whole baked cod dish that I
Oh.
like, veggie lasagna. I'm like, okay, where'd you get that from? you know, and I'm like, you made that? And so I was telling someone that they sent me these pictures, and he said, Michelle, you congratulations, you did a great job. And I'm like, what are you talking about? He's like,
Yeah.
you know, you raise children that now they're independent. They can do these things.
Yes.
And that made me think about that. And then when in the call you had parents talking about their children, I said, yeah, we as parents forget this is this is the work we
This
put in.
is right here.
This is the work we put in, right? This is what they were watching,
Right?
and this is the result of it. So
You can't get more winningness than that when you are
exactly.
sending out good human beings out
That's
into the
right.
world.
That's right.
Right?
That's right. And if and
Wow.
if and if if that's what you've done, that's what you've done, right?
That's what you've done.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's a gift that keeps on giving, that keeps on
Absolutely.
winning. The people that interact with them, what they end up creating in their own lives, whether it's business ventures, you planted that seed and nourished it.
That's right.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
right. That's
So that room is inspirational.
right.
I
Mhm.
mean, there's great networking that goes on in there as well. We're learning best practices from each other. Um, just, I mean, in fact, and the energy is infectious. There's
Yes.
joy, there's love, there's fun, you
Yeah.
know. Yeah, it's just, and every week is different.
Yeah, every week is different. There are different individuals on there. And the thing I love about Clubhouse is that it's not just local. So
Yeah.
you're meeting people from all over, which is great, which is
Mhm.
great. So you're getting to not only, I think we also every week almost learn about new business ventures and
Yeah.
different industries, like, oh,
Yes.
people do that, people do that. So it's great. It's you always leave there with something.
Always.
Mhm.
Always. So just to remind the people, so that's Clubhouse, and it's right now every other Thursday
Right.
um, at 8:30 p.m. So just look out for it. Celebrate the wins, hashtag winning by Dionne Nicholls and Michelle McClymont. And just before we wrap things up, Michelle, uh, what's next for you?
Oh my gosh. What's next? I am really focusing on this accountability group that I'm working
Hmm.
on Tuesdays. And also, I do have another business, which is a graduation product business, which has been really busy lately.
Hmm.
So, I'm
Does
putting
it
a
have
lot.
a name? Let the people know.
It's called the Grad Zone. The Grad Zone, and we provide graduation products for schools. We do cap and gowns, class rings, yearbooks, senior photos, all the good stuff for the seniors. And it's been going really good. And just working on. We've been in business. This is our fourth year, so, just revamping a lot of the marketing and doing a lot of things, but business has been really busy lately. So I'm putting a lot of focus into that. And always looking for the next project to work on.
You
Always looking
live
for
for
the
that. I know.
Yeah, I
It
do. That
wakes you
gets
up
me
in the morning.
going. That gets me going. But definitely looking for the next economic development type of project, whether it's in New York or whether I'm putting the atmosphere, whether it's in Atlanta or New
Ah,
York. But I would definitely have like to have I would like to work on a neighborhood and develop a neighborhood that's
Ooh,
get my
yes.
juices going. So
Well, lots going on in Atlanta too.
I
So
know, I
wherever
know,
you
I
go,
know. Yes, I'm
they're
putting that out.
enforcing it.
I have to
Yeah.
speak it to make
Yes.
sure it happens. Yes.
So where can the people find you?
You can find me on Instagram. My Instagram name is Miche 26 Voices, MICHE. I think there's underscore 26 underscore voices. Just because that was the name of my photo project, and I just left it at that. And I'm also on Facebook, Miche, MICHE, McClymont. So it's
And
my
do you have a website for your grad zone
yes.
business?
The Grad Zone website is www.yourgradzone.com.
And if someone wanted to get involved with your accountability coaching program,
They can just hit me on Instagram or
okay,
Facebook. Yeah, you can DM me on Instagram. Again, Miche 26 Voices. And I can definitely let you know. I'll send you the link, and we would love for you to join us.
beautiful. Wow. Well,
And
Michelle,
now I'm doing it free of cost. So yeah,
might want to reiterate that.
I am
Three
doing it.
ninety nine.
Yes, free 99, free 99. It's really from the heart. Want to help individuals. It's helping me as well. So it's free 99.
Nice. Wow. Well,
Mhm.
thank you for being of service
Oh, you're
to our
welcome.
entrepreneurs at
Ah,
large.
mhm.
Because now you can do this beyond borders, you know?
Yes, yes.
So very exciting. It was just absolutely wonderful having you here.
Oh, Dionne, thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it. You know I love you, girl.
Oh, I love you more. So I'll see you in the clubhouse. See you Thursday.
Oh, yes, I will see you Thursday when we celebrate our wins.
Yes. All right.
Okay. Mwah.
Bye.
Bye, hon. Take care.
Okay, I'm going to end broadcast.